Alright, so Together is directed by Michael Shanks, starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie. I saw this movie along with Naked Gun last night, and I gotta say, this movie is freaky deaky. Dave Franco plays a character named Tim, while Alison Brie plays a character named Millie. They are a couple who decide to move out into a new house, kind of in the middle of nowhere away from the city. They go exploring in the woods, they end up in this really weird cave, they get a curse, and the movie unfolds. Now I want to start off with a few things I did not like about this movie. One in particular, and that is the plot of this film. It feels like a very, very generic horror film plot. What can I say? I don't watch a ton of horror movies, and the plot is one of the reasons I don't. This feels wholly unoriginal in that aspect. Couple moves out into the middle of the woods, they go on this hike, they fall in a cave, they get this curse, and then shit happens to them, scary things unfold. I feel like I've seen this plot in many, many other horror movies before, and this film really doesn't do anything interesting in that department. I'm sorry, I just don't think it does anything interesting there. I am at least a little interested in how these two characters interact. They're kind of like a struggling couple, and this film brings them together. And I was surprised by how much Alison Brie and Dave Franco, like how much their chemistry showed on this film. I didn't even know that these two were married until I watched this movie. It all kind of made sense, like, that's why their chemistry's so good in this film, because they're actually married in real life. So that's good. But as far as story beats go, nothing interesting. You could predict pretty much exactly what's going to happen in this movie from like the 10 to 15 minute mark. But personally, I don't think you go to horror movies for the plot. You go to horror movies for the grotesque, scary shit. And this film has a good amount of that. So I don't see a ton of horror movies. The last one I saw was The Substance, which happened to be another body horror film. And I think The Substance had a really good plot and a really interesting idea behind the movie. While this film doesn't have a good plot, it does still have a really interesting idea as far as the body horror and like what actually happens to these characters. The curse that is bestowed upon these two is a curse of attraction, you could say. They both get infected, and their bodies are acting separately from their minds, and their bodies are calling each other, pushing each other close until eventually, if you've seen the trailers, their hands start to merge, and it goes really, really freaky and much further than that. I won't spoil what happens in this film because there are a few moments where you really don't want to watch what's happening, but you also can't look away. Now, I could have used a little more of the body horror stuff in this film. What is there is great, honestly. There are two scenes in particular that are ingrained in my mind forever. One of them, which you've seen on the trailer, where like their eyes start to merge, and I'm real sensitive with my eyeballs, so anything with that just freaks me the hell out. And there's another one that I won't ruin, but in the cave, he finds this creature that is it's disgustingly brilliant. I'll say it like that. It is one hell of a creature, and it looks like they used not CGI for it. It looks like a very practical effect. There's a lot of practical effects in this movie, which I also really appreciate. And while I don't think the plot is very good at all, I do really like that it revolves around these two characters. I mean, there's really only three characters in this movie. It mostly revolves around Dave Franco and Alison Brie's characters. And I like that about a film. I like the small scale of this movie. The runtime was about 1:40, which is great for this. The music was there. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It did a job. Overall, I did enjoy watching this film. I don't really think I'll see it again, ever, just because it's not a really interesting plot. But if you're looking for some good body horror stuff, and honestly, it's probably a pretty good date movie, definitely check this movie out. I would give Together 6 out of 10, because the good is good, but as far as a functioning movie, it's really not that great. If you've seen Together, let me know what you thought down below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to. See you next time.